this thing on? Hey guys, Arthur here with LV Game Dev. It is on. Welcome back. It has been a while. This has been a very long cycle. I want to thank you guys for your patience though. Got a ton here. There's really a whole lot that has changed. Many of you guys been playing on Edge day in and day out. We want to thank you. Really could not have done it without you guys. This has definitely been a trying one for everybody. It's, there's a little bit of everything in here. It's surprising for as deep as we went, there was a whole lot of polish that happened this patch. Pretty excited about it. One of the first things that you're going to notice is right here. You're looking at it. We've got this brand new main menu. We've been hearing since the day we launched that we should have a main menu. Finally got around to it. It does make life easier. It does feel like a real game now. You can actually go to a menu. We've got a whole new workshop set up where you can browse everything in game. Pretty cool, especially for airports is one of my favorites because you can one click to jump in and actually play that airport. So we'll actually just jump into this one. So we've got a whole new, the loading screen is improved a little bit. There's a whole lot more though. You're gonna see this is all new. Updated all the mod stuff. So the code for the mod stuff just wasn't that great. It was kind of hacked together. We just got it to the point where it would work. And that was fine for making sure that it worked, but we wanted to go further with it. Really what we want to do is unleash the ability of mods entirely. We'd like to let you create your own objects, create agents, all that. So we wanted to invest some time now and get the code for mods in general to be more robust. Mods are still a little bit of a pain to us. The Steam API is not fantastic. It's a little bit flaky. Still, it drives me nuts. I've been working on it for the last few days. Yes, ask the Steam API if something's installed, and you know it's in the directory. We found it in the directory. We're pretty sure it's installed. You ask Steam, and Steam says it has no idea. Well, why is it in the directory to begin with? Little stuff like that, but that's the nature of the beast when it comes to this stuff. And now you can see on this new mod status screen, what we've done is create a new in-game screen. You can get to this through the menu, and that way you can see right away what the status of all your mods are. You can import a new airline into your save. Another cool thing about the main menu, you can start a new game and choose what airlines you want to be in your new game. So you can start a new game with only mod airlines. You can use just a few of them, etc. It's really the choice is up to you. This is something you guys have been asking for months, and it required us having a separate interface for new game that wasn't in game. There's a number of things like that. I mean, even the mod edit screens, the ability now to create an airline. Now you can edit the airline in game, including adding concerns. Some of this was in here. I don't think the concern editing was. And then we have the same thing for aircraft. The upload, all this stuff is pretty much the same. A few new things like the visibility, but generally it's about the same. A little bit of polish though. You're gonna see that these screens should behave a lot more consistently. Really just kind of took a top-down view of all this and did our best to make sure everything's working well and consistently. It's probably not going to be perfect. Like I said, the Steam API is a headache. It's definitely steps in the right direction, and eventually what we want to see, custom objects, custom agents, etc. A couple of new settings here is you can change the opacity of the underground layer. Anyway, this is a nice new addition. Glad to have it done finally. All right, so first off, let's talk about one of the cool things that we did almost very early in the cycle. This was not intended for this cycle at all. Really just kind of got fed up one day and jumped on it. And next thing you know, it ended up only taking a day or two and then about a week or so worth of finding any leftover spots. We've now made it possible to expand your land in any direction. And of course, I've loaded this game up. Maybe I should pull open a better save for this. So this wasn't really planned, but we just kind of hunkered down and did it. It was like pretty early in the cycle. It was kind of accidental that we even jumped on this, but it's something you guys have been asking for a very long time, and that's the ability to buy land expansions in any direction. You can now expand to the left, down, and as you used to be able to do, also up and to the right. Of course, you can tunnel underneath railroad tracks to be able to get passenger access. I mean, you could build a whole separate terminal on this side if you wanted. Really, you could do pretty much anything you want. Meanwhile, you can continue expanding in the other directions as well. Go ahead and run one to the left here, just to give you an idea. But just like before, you can build over here the same way. When you start a new game, you'll own a little bit of land to the left to accommodate existing saves. If you, for instance, already owned a light rail station. Let's see, where is the light rail? So you own just enough land to have the light rail be on the left to begin with. Again, you can expand any direction you want. We also actually increased the size of the total max tiles that you can have just slightly. We're looking to increase it further still in the future. It's just a matter of we need to spend some time testing, make sure all the data structures. You guys see this map, it looks like SimAirport. I see it and I see all these ones and zeros everywhere. Each cell occupies some amount of RAM, and depending on what kind of computations, it can occupy more than other cells. So we just need to make sure that the algorithms that figure out what those, ones and zeros are not going to get too slow when we make the map huge. We do want to continue to expand the size of the map. Alright, the focus here was on performance. The first thing you're going to notice, though, is probably the sprites for the characters themselves, the passengers. We're listening to your feedback. I know that some of you have voiced concern that you gave them a chance. That's really what we asked you to do. We really just wanted you to at least give them a chance. And many of you have said, you love them after giving them a chance. Some of you had said you really just don't care. It's about the gameplay. Frankly, that's kind of the bucket that I fit into. To me, I want to make a fun game. I don't really care all that much about what, I want it to not be ugly. I tell the artist every time that what matters most is that it's not ugly, but most importantly, you can recognize what it is. When it comes to visual style, it's just not as important to me. What's important to me is that that that's a passenger and that's a passenger. Anyway, we're listening to your feedback. I know there are some of you that have given it a fair chance, and you still don't like it. You like what it was before. Personally think that they look solid. It's not amazing. I was fine with it before as well. The way these are rendered is much faster, and we had to reconfigure all the rendering for the performance gains. So we kind of just figured, hey, let's make them pretty while we're doing it and just kill two birds with one stone, get some animation in there. I think they look cool. The perspective is now more accurate with the objects, with this kind of pseudo 45-degree perspective. I'm not dying to go spend 4, 5, 6 days dev time adding the old ones back and making it an option. I know that there are a number of you that have asked us to do that. If we really have to, in a month or two, we're still hearing about it, then that's exactly what we'll do. I personally would rather work on cargo systems or multiple pickup and drop-off zones, or you can take a look at the roadmap here, and I'd rather work on almost any of these than, going and configuring a whole bunch of sprites. It's a balancing act, though. You guys keep the feedback coming, especially here, and give it a little bit more time. If you're really despising it in a month or two, post a couple times on the forums, let us know. We'll go ahead and configure the other ones. Just realize that it may mean that random events or the clone tool, cargo, parking, that stuff, it may push it back by 2 weeks, which may mean it's a year from now. Well, we've got this up, though. Let's talk about it a little bit. We're actually pretty excited. We're now at the point, finally, where we feel pretty damn good about the foundation of the game. There's still a couple of aspects where it could be a little bit better. One of them is staff scheduling, or really just kind of the staff run loops. That is going to be addressed this cycle. Cafes is going to be addressed this cycle. They've been problematic for a while. We're halfway through that already. Same with staff scheduling and the staff run loops. The only other aspect that really is kind of iffy in our mind is the roadways. Really not a fan of the roadways personally. I don't know if they really truly warrant a whole heck of a lot more time input. I mean, we can make a lot of fun stuff in the game the way they are. Parking systems may be the one that would be a little bit tough to do. So I don't know, it's a balancing act, but all that said, that's a tangent. What I was trying to get across is we're actually really pumped about where we're at with the game right now, because we're going to be able to pretty much focus entirely on systems, on cool stuff, often called content. And that's a pretty cool place to be at. I think we'll be able to really put a lot out in a good amount of time. A year from now, I would expect that there's unbelievable amount of things to do, and I think that that's going to come together pretty quick. It'll be a very fun time for us and a fun time for you. You know, hopefully you guys are willing to see some change. Some of this stuff is going to mean there's some change happening that it may take some getting used to, similar to these new passenger sprites. And yeah, if anything, it's awesome. It's something to look forward to. Hopefully you're excited about it. Okay, so performance-wise, again, it's perhaps not right where I'd love for it to be, but it is much better. We've still got a few areas of code that aren't performing perfectly. They're going to be getting looked at over the next cycle. We're going to get down to much more rapid cycles again, though, here pretty soon. Really, pretty much right away. I think the next cycle is going to go by quite quickly. And I see I've got a little bit of a hitch happening on this save. Take a look at that. I wonder if it... Oh, no, it's these cafes. So the cafes are terrible on performance right now. Really bad. We've actually already gutted them. We are going to be getting that out to Edge pretty quick. But cafes, we're going to be doing a number on them. May require some rebuilding as well. The mechanic, it just was short-sighted. Frankly, it was one of the first things we designed back in, must have been 2015 or 2016. We didn't really know how was the AI going to work, how were the run loops going to work. We didn't even know how was this game going to work. And so we didn't get it right. It doesn't work well with the AI. It's a crappy concept at this point. We know what we're doing with it. We've got it already, and we've started on the code for the new iteration of it. It's going to be similar objects. It's going to be a similar paradigm even. A little more realistic, less of this restaurant-y chaining instead of, everything having to happen in series. There's going to be a lot more parallelism. The emphasis is really going to be on creating a very well-working system that can scale, that can get added to with various different objects, more or less staff. The staff scheduling is going to be in the next cycle. That's pretty cool. It already is just about done. It looks fantastic. I think you'll really like it. It's going to definitely add to the amount of management that needs to go on. But yeah, it should be pretty solid. Anyway, I am scatterbrained. This has been one long cycle. Let me tell you, we are more excited than you are to get this one out. I promise. So back to performance, we've only got 300 in here, probably running 60 frames a second, I would think. I do feel a hitch every now and then. It's likely some allocation happening from the cafe. Generally, though, especially on our high-end Windows machine, you should be able to run like 5,000+ passengers. Probably be down to like 30 frames, but it's super playable. We received a save. What was that save? I was looking at a save just the other day. It had like 14,000 and cringed a little. But even with all our dev tools up, I was still getting not bad. We can make a lot faster still. I believe our movement code alone, rendering-wise, we can now render something like 60,000 or so with no problem. We've now got the bottleneck is shifted towards the movement itself. The AI, the pathfinding, all that stuff runs on other threads already. Sometimes they can get backlogged, but really that's a non-concern. Right now, it basically is just the calculation of movement every frame. We can do better with that too. It's just, at some point the value proposition drops, and I don't know about you guys, I'm getting a little bit antsy for something new in game. Performance is great. It's awesome to be able to see you guys building this stuff. It's also great not to see every forum thread talking about performance. And it's especially great that you can zoom out and pause, and that shouldn't lag at all, right? We had to rewrite all the rendering. There were a number of systems that just had to be kind of junked, and we had to do them over. And that's kind of expected. I guess it's more expected with Unity than anything else. Supposedly Unity's fixing that. I don't know. In any case, it's faster now. Hopefully you guys appreciate that and can see it. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and, probably a little bit of tears into it. So we really do hope you enjoy it. It wasn't the easiest thing to achieve. And I'm really glad it's finished. So that's performance. I could talk about each of these individual systems. I'm really not going to. Gonna just kind of lightly touch on the fuel system and the baggage. We're scatterbrained. We like this stuff. And one of the things you get out of this update is all the baggage is fully simulated. So let's see what time it is. Maybe getting some check-ins. Time does he depart? 8 a.m. Woo. Early. And there's a bag here. So all the baggage is now simulated fully. You can see it all on the carousels. Each hub has a maximum capacity that it can sort per hour, and you can now upgrade the baggage hubs, and these are all fully upgraded, but you can increase the sorting capacity. This one is not upgraded yet, and so by default you get 240 an hour. These numbers are pretty high. We had them lower during the cycle, but we found that we'd often see saves people thought were bugs. Really, it's just under capacity. We've got to develop some better systems to be able to show you and bring those to your attention. So the capacities, the sorting throughput is fairly high on these. In any case, the cool thing is the bags are now all fully represented. I mean, you can see this going. It's pretty cool. We've done this in a very high performance way, which really is the key, and this is the version that's here to stay. Many of you probably already know this, but we've added some tooltips to make it a little bit easier to see. These ports can all be changed, and so now just little things like this, there's a lot of that where you've got little tooltip type stuff. Similarly, we've added a number of new reports. One of them, this is my favorite report. This PAX flow report is pretty neat. So this allows you to see all your passengers. Yellow is staff, green are the departures, red are the arrivals. There's actually a few different modes to this report. If you hit tab, you can see the different modes. So this is passenger needs. And here you're able to see all the passengers, and the darker their circle is, the less satisfied they are. And so you can use this to get an idea of what might my problems be in my airport, where are my problems. You can see these guys are probably getting frustrated. They're waiting for their bags. Another one is insecure passengers that are in secure area. This will show you, is anybody sneaking by? And this is kind of a prelude into, people actually trying to sneak by to some degree. It's also to help us debug. Similarly, we've got arrivals by age. Passengers that are lit up here are the arrival passengers, and their circle will turn darker and darker towards red the longer they've been in the airport. These passengers just got off their flight. They're fully green. And these guys are waiting on their bags or waiting on a ride. So you can see this has been waiting quite a while, and he just made it out of there. It's a great tool to be able to see, do you have passengers from a certain gate that are ending up waiting too long or have a really long walk? Are they getting jammed up somewhere? And then this shows you all passengers by age, how long they've been there, and then back to the by type. Started out as a debug tool. There were a couple of saves sent in. We were trying to track down a problem. And we've got our blue. These blues are connecting flight passengers. But somebody sent in a save, and we were debugging a problem. We put basically this exact same report together. It was not quite as pretty. It didn't have tab. Had to, do all kinds of debug stuff to get it to run. But we were like, let's polish this up and put it out there. It seems to actually be a tool people like. That's kind of cool. Another one seen in action over here is passengers now, they'll try fairly hard not to walk across the roads or on the roads. If you have sidewalks, they'll prefer the sidewalks when possible. But you can see these guys are at least kind of coming across. At some point, we may get crosswalks in here. The other thing you can do now, you can build, a tunnel underneath, and the passengers will take that. But they're going to try to avoid those roads when they can. Okay, so I was going to talk about the fuel system. I talked about the bag system already. There's a bunch of little stuff that's been changed on the bag system too. Coolest two things about it now are that the aircraft requests baggage and fuel services much earlier, basically as soon as it touches down. And the vehicles now can get the request as long as they're not in the middle of fueling or unloading or loading for another aircraft. Even if they're on their way to the hangar or refueling, they'll get that request and they'll go do it right away. Their AI is smarter. They know the true distances instead of everything being line of sight based. They actually know the pre-calculated distances to their relevant stuff. They use that as a factor of who should go do what work. Similarly, we've got show arrival runways. This shows runways most likely to be selected for arrival. See distance 65%, 49%, 35%. So for this gate, the arrival runway will most of the time be this runway unless it's already in use. Then they'll prefer this one, then this one. Departure runways, same thing I would expect because these runways are all open for arrivals and departures. Just another little tool though to be able to help you determine why are my aircraft landing on this runway for this gate. And so now you can just click a gate and check. There's a lot of little stuff like that in this update, along with the performance is massively different, and the way the game runs is like radically changed in code. But there's a lot of cool usability stuff. Got some new reporting in here. Got need satisfaction. There's a time analysis, which looks like maybe bugged. Have to look at that. Need satisfaction. It shows you a breakdown of your passengers and their needs and how many are at each. We've adjusted the readout up here as well to show how many are very unsatisfied. There are a few new things. The bank loan system was updated yet again. We really like the way this is set up now. Basically, you could pretty much always get a loan, but you might be paying 20% interest. You can check your credit report and see why, what reasons are you getting those interest rates. And if you have really good credit, you can get a $2.5 million loan for a pretty solid interest rate. If your credit is not so hot, you might be paying 1 to 3% on $125,000. Just like in real life, if you apply for a loan, it's going to hurt your credit score a little bit, and that won't hurt quite as bad after a few days. But you don't want to be clicking that button nonstop or you're going to end up with bad credit. This is a cool new one, perfect ops bonus. You can see exactly why you did or did not hit the bonus for a given day. I'm surprised, actually. We're playing the save off the workshop, but it looks like he was hitting the bonus for a number of days straight. And then we had 61 missed packs. Yeah, yesterday. Thanks to whoever's map this is, by the way. It's a cool save. Okay, so fuel system, there's a new object added that you'll need to get installed right away. We don't see it. Where is the refueling station? Here you go. So these refueling stations. Are where your fuel trucks refill. On the way back to the hangar, the fuel truck will go grab more fuel, fill themselves up, and then any fuel trucks that are in the area and that have enough fuel for a fuel request, they'll go fuel the aircraft up. If you have ports on your gates though, then the fuel truck will actually just use that fuel to fuel the aircraft, and then they'll also fill themselves up when they leave. They basically make sure they always have fuel. I know that's an OSHA violation and everything to be parking in a hangar full of jet fuel, but it worked well for a game mechanic, and it kind of simplifies it and keeps it kind of nimble. Want to make these, like, the driving animations look better. Yeah, it's a solid, more robust of a system. They're less prone to bugs. It's far more efficient in terms of being able to get quick turnaround times. And yeah, we've got the fairly cool new object in too, which kind of helps with the balance slope. There is a ton more. You could check out the full change log in the notes. I've got it printed out here. It looks like it's about 4 pages worth. Fairly expected. It's been 4 or 5 months worth of work, and really most of the work goes into the first 10 bullet points here under performance, which you really don't see a whole lot of tangible, but gonna notice a performance right away. The construction stutter should be mostly eliminated, at least very improved. Passenger AI has been improved substantially. It really is looking good. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better as we start adding a bunch of content over the next few cycles. We'll be adding in a number of new content items. We'll definitely be tuning the AI as we go. Just be warned, it may get a little bit, the passengers may be a little sidetracked when there's a whole bunch of new shiny stuff for them to go do. But really, I feel very good about this update. Hopefully you guys really enjoy it. This one has truly been exhausting. It's been a really challenging one. Been a lot of technical problems to solve, and it's also been very satisfying because the code is fantastic now. The code has been solid for everything the entire time. There have just been some areas we're not thrilled about, or we know we can do better once we kind of better understood how the gameplay would go. We're pretty thrilled with how things are looking at the moment. Ooh, we've got our police cars. What else do I have to show you here? Well, let's talk about the future. It may change a little bit, but our plan is to get back to rapid. Like I said, we're in a great spot. We're going to focus on content mostly. Got a few things that we still got to get fixed up. The tutorial as well. We've actually got the tutorial is done and ready to go. It'll be on Edge almost immediately. Staff scheduling also looking quite good already. You guys are really going to like it. And we're about halfway through cafes and retail. Not sure how many of these. We're going to get back to quick turnarounds on these cycles. But we're going to really try to focus on content, systems, get some of these low-hanging fruit, and kind of the bang for the buck value. The big one I keep hearing a lot about is more transit capacity and EAM slot. Some more of these others in as well. The multi-screen support, just kind of function of time. That's pretty much the plan though. Definitely for the next cycle, probably for the next one or two. We'll be doing a little bit more cleanup, but really gonna generally be hitting home on content. Fun stuff for us. It's the fun stuff for you guys. We're at a point now where everything really works better than we maybe thought it ever would. At one point at least. What was it? Almost 2 years ago now after release, we thought, it might just be bugs for life. So yeah, we want to focus on content, making things fun. Very much looking forward to some of the deals, negotiations, remote stands, interest and clone tools, some of these big ones. Basically the stuff that's going to add serious depth. Cool thing about SimAirport though is really any new system adds depth. It adds, it kind of is all exponential. When there's all these different systems playing off each other, it's not really a totally linear thing. When you add a whole new gameplay element, it really does add a lot more than, what do they say? They say the whole is greater than the sum of all parts. And that's very much true. It seems to be the case with SimAirport. That's kind of the plan. That's where we're going. I want to take a second and I want to extend a huge thank you to everybody that's playing on Edge. Those of you who are sending in saves, sending in detailed bug reports. You make our lives so much easier. You make this whole thing possible. It really wouldn't be otherwise. And we thank you for that so much. I want to thank everyone for being patient with us. It's been a really long, trying cycle. Apparently, early access has this reputation for developers just kind of leaving, or that's not how we do things. You guys have seen, we're on this stuff nonstop. I mean, we eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. And so it's just a foreign concept to us, but I really do want to thank everyone for being patient with us and understanding that it takes time to build this stuff. I feel like there's a football reference in there, like defense wins championships or something. I'm not sure, but we're about to go on the offensive. And as always, I want to ask those of you who are maybe new to the game or who haven't really played quite as much, if you're having fun with the game, get involved. There's nothing more empowering to us, nothing we enjoy more, and there's nothing more helpful than your involvement. It's critical to the success we've enjoyed so far, and it really helps us to build a better game. So if you're having fun, jump on the Steam forums, jump on the subreddit. If you haven't done so already, please leave a review. If you're having a good time, let others know. It's actually a shockingly powerful way to help support the game, and we would certainly appreciate it. We really would love to see you leave us a review on Steam. Mention you saw the video. Yeah, it's a huge way to support not just the game either, not just SimAirport, but to support us, the devs, too. And yeah, just thank you for sticking with us through this really long and trying dev cycle, through some seriously bad bugs and some ugly ones, and we hope you're excited for next cycle. We're going to be seeing content start flying. There's still going to be, as always, it's not going to be totally smooth sailing. There's always going to be ups and downs, and I think many of you know us by now. We kind of like to take risks. I don't know if we're going to do what some companies do and add multiplayer and stuff like that. That might be pushing it, but we already added multiple floors, and we'll see if we can't come up with a few more tricks up our sleeve. I don't know if we'll be able to outdo that one. Yeah, so that's it for this edition. I'll leave you guys with the beautiful loading screen. I really do. I hope everybody's still enjoying the game, having a good time, and ooh, that's pretty. Really do. Hope everyone has enjoyed so far. There still is. There's plenty more to come. We're pumped about it. Hope you are too. And we hope we see you on the forums. We'll be diving into this next cycle pretty much right away. No time for sleep. Need to get right back to it. Yeah. Thank you again, and we will see you guys next month.